Coming up on Midco Sports tonight, it's all about signing day here at Midco SN. We'll talk about all of the new additions to our Dakota schools with our expert analysis. Then later on, we'll recap some of the exciting and controversial action from the hoops scene last night. And finally, catch a preview of tomorrow's border battle, North Dakota at South Dakota in women's hoops. All of that plus much more. Midco Sports Tonight tips off right now. Good evening. Happy Wednesday, everyone. I'm Kelly Stewart, and this is Midco Sports Tonight. And today's show is all about signing day, or probably about 90% signing day for Division I football. So we are going to dive right in because there is a lot to cover. And starting with South Dakota State, Tom Nieman.
Hi, Stu.
How's it going?
Fabulous. This is an exciting day because everybody in the country's got the best class in the country.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how it happens, but everybody's got the best one. But it's a big day. It's fun.
Top 2018 class. Well, Tom's back from Brookings, went there to cover signing day today, and the Jackrabbits looking to build a program that made it to the FCS semifinals this year. So it's setting the bar really high, but what are they looking for in this 2018 class?
Well, believe it or not, everything really except wide receivers this year, and that's hard to believe with names like Jake Winicky and those guys moving on. But with what the Jacks have coming back and with two guys who redshirted this past season, they think that wide receiver is a pretty solid spot right now. But take a look at the list here. The Jacks do go out and get a little bit of everything else. They get a quarterback from Chicago, a couple of local offensive linemen. They get Zach Hines, the tight end from Sioux Falls, Washington. Caleb Sanders, they're from Glenwood, Iowa, big, nasty defensive tackle, and they signed a couple of those guys, Jade Vanderwerf as well. The Jacks went heavy on linemen from the state of Iowa, as you see as we take a look at the second page of this list. But Ryan Van Merrill, the second guy listed there, another 6'5" defensive tackle from Sheldon, Iowa. So is Trajan Walhoff from Sioux Center, Iowa. So they went deep on the offensive and defensive lines.
All right.
On the offensive and defensive lines first. And Coach Eck does an amazing job evaluating offensive linemen. And so we've got a good group coming in with Mason McCormick and Garrett Greenfield that signed NLIs today. You know, a guy like Logan Bush coming in from Iowa Western is going to be able to help us. He's got some family tradition here. And, you know, the Max Howards of the world. I mean, we've done a good job locally.
So they absolutely did. You talk about McCormick from Sioux Falls Roosevelt, Max Howard from Brandon Valley. Logan Bush is from Beersford, played 1 year JUCO at Iowa Western. His dad, Mike Bush, was a quarterback for the Jackrabbits back in the mid-'80s. So that's the local connection, the family connection that Coach Jackson's talking about there.
Family of Jacks. Well, you talked about it a little bit, but the Jacks filling just about every position. They did get a quarterback, though, out of Chicago.
Yeah. Never have too many quarterbacks or too many defensive ends, right? They think they got a quarterback of the future. His name is Jabori Gibbs, and he is from a high school in Chicago named Phillips High School. Really good program there. They won state championships 2 of the last 3 years in the bigger classes in Chicago. Gibbs had lower-level FBS offers, but he made a visit to Brookings during the playoffs this year and signed on with the Jacks today.
Jabori Gibbs is our quarterback. He's a dual threat type guy, great leader, a bigger guy in stature, probably 6'2", 6'3". Really probably looks at a linebacker, could play linebacker, but a great leader, great young man, great student.
And we felt like we got one of the best quarterbacks in the country, to be honest with you, at our level especially. But Jabori Gibbs, he's a special talent. You know, he's from Phillips High School in Chicago. He's won state championships multiple years in a row. He had a lot of MAC schools after him. You know, he had schools contacting him up until last night, and but he knows this is where he wants to be.
So the Jacks will have 5 quarterbacks coming back if they all come back from this year's roster, including Taryn Christian. But they think that Jabori Gibbs could be the guy maybe in 2 or 3 years from now.
Yeah, Taryn Christian, 1 more year, going to be a senior next year. Big shoes to fill. But Taryn Christian out of South Dakota, Roosevelt High School, and South Dakota State signed 5 in-state players today, but they are the most excited about a guy from a 9-man school.
Yeah, this is a guy Jason Andera, our guy, knows very well. We're very excited about this guy going to South Dakota State. He's from Gregory. Jade Vanderwerf is his name. Listed at 6 feet tall, but he plays like he's a lot bigger than that. He's got a lot of speed. He's listed as a wide receiver on the official signing list from South Dakota State, but they're not really sure where he's going to end up.
Well, he can play multiple positions. You know, we recruited him with the thought of should he be a wide receiver? Should he be a safety? Will he grow up and be an outside linebacker? But here, pedigree. How many championships have they won? You know, he expects to win. You add those guys to your program, it raises a mentality in that class.
Very good point. And Vanderwerf kind of reminds me a little bit of Lorenzo Williams for the Jackrabbits this year. Kind of a great athlete that came in, could have played a lot of positions, ended up at safety now. But Vanderwerf, they are very excited about him.
Well, we've talked all about these high schoolers that are signing on, getting these scholarships, but SDSU actually used a scholarship on a guy already on the team today.
And he was a great player this year, and they actually do this quite a bit in a lot of programs. Cade Johnson was a redshirt freshman this year for the Jacks. He had 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns this year, had 3 touchdown catches. He was 3rd on the team in catches behind Jake Winicky and Dallas Goddard. Big impact player this year, but he was not on scholarship this year. He was on a promise from the coaches that when a scholarship did become available, that Johnson would get one. So they did that today to reward a guy who had literally been paying his own way up to this point. So that's another thing that Stig and Coach, all the coaches really point out at South Dakota State is it's not just the guys that we're seeing today, the big scholarship guys, it's non-scholarship guys like Cade Johnson. Dallas Goddard was that way.
Yep.
Chris Falster for the Jackrabbits was that way this year. It's those guys that end up making a huge impact on a program. So not just the names we're seeing today, but it's going to be guys like Cade Johnson and some of these other guys that are coming in as non-scholarship guys that'll make a big difference.
All right, always love to see stories like that. Well, great stuff from signing day. Thanks,
It was a fun
Sam.
day. Thanks, Stu.
All right, well, when we come back, we'll take it down to Vermilion to check in with Bob Nielsen and learn all about the Coyotes pack of signees. You're watching Midco Sports Tonight.
Midco Sports Tonight, presented by Avera Orthopedics.